Welcome back to the Thrivetime Show. Have a business question? Email us today at info@thrivetimeshow.com. And Clay and Dr. Z will answer your business questions live on the air.
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the conversation. We're talking about creating checklists for everything. My name is Clay Clark. I'm the former U.S. SBA Entrepreneur of the Year, and we're talking about creating checklists for everything. So what we're going to do, this is going to be a lot of fun here. We're going to do kind of a round table. Eric Chupp, the business coach, is going to read the notable quotable, and then Wes Carter is going to break down an example. Wes Carter is the legal eagle with Winners and King. He's represented top clients all over the region. His firm has represented T.D. Jakes, Joel Osteen, Craig Rochelle, the big names. I mean, Joyce Myers. I mean, there's a lot of big names there. So he's going to tell us an example of where you've seen something go bad in a business, like just bad. Now, again, attorney-client privilege, no specifics. But
just one time.
So you're going to read.
Changed.
So you're going to read the checklist here, Chup. Okay. The notable quotable about the checklist. This is from the head of the Harvard at the time, the head of the Harvard Medical School. He's a leading professor at the Harvard Medical School. He is an American surgeon. He's the New York Times bestselling author of the Checklist Manifesto. His name is Atul Gawande, Gawande.
This is one of my favorite books ever.
I love the book. Okay, here we go, Chup.
All right, he says, we don't like checklists. They can be painstaking. They're not much fun. But I don't think the issue here is mere laziness. There's something deeper, more visceral going on when people walk away not only from saving lives, but from making money. It somehow feels beneath us to use a checklist, an embarrassment. It runs counter to deeply held beliefs about how the truly great among us, those we aspire to be, handle situations of high stakes and complexity. The truly great and daring, they improvise. They do not have protocols and checklists. Maybe our idea of heroism needs a little bit of updating.
Have you ever seen, Wes, where a really good person made a massive mistake that caused profound legal ramifications?
Yeah, and I'm going to stay away from clients, and I'm going to go a little closer to home and talk about attorneys.
Oh, yeah.
I'm one.
There you
because
go.
I think exactly what the quote was hits home so well that I'm going to paraphrase, it's ego. I'm an attorney. I have a doctorate. I've been doing this. I don't need a checklist. I need my mental capabilities and my experience. And I've seen attorneys that forget to do something very simple. So let's say I'm thinking of one specific instance where you're buying a business. So I have a client that's buying another business. Part of that business is a whole bunch of inventory. So $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 worth of inventory. You pay some for the name and things, but so we buy the business. But we close a month later. Someone calls us and they're like, "Hey, you bought that inventory, but that was collateral on our loan. Ooh. And you owe us now. We're going to foreclose on all the inventory you bought and take it to pay us because just by the act of selling it, you breached the loan document." And what would have prevented that? A search that would have taken about 5 seconds to search something called the UCC, because anybody who puts collateral liens on those things has to register those. And it was public records, publicly available, online. You don't have to get out of your chair to look for it. And I have seen those things happen where it costs someone $500,000, $750,000 for something that literally would have taken me 15 seconds to do, but I didn't personally. But someone forgot.
So let's say that I'm sold on, I need to have a checklist, Chup. What's the next notable quotable?
All right, the next notable quotable here is, there are good checklists and bad. Borman explained, bad checklists are vague and imprecise. They are too long, they are hard to use, they are impractical. They are made by desk jockeys with no awareness of the situation in which they are to be deployed. They treat the people using the tools as dumb and try to spell out every single step. They turn people's brains off rather than turn them on. Good checklists, on the other hand, are precise. They are efficient, to the point, and easy to use even in the most difficult situations. They do not try to spell out everything. A checklist cannot fly a plane. Listen to that. A checklist cannot fly a plane. Instead, they provide reminders of only the most critical and important steps, the ones that even the highly skilled professionals using them could miss. Good checklists are, above all, practical.
So these are the action steps that you need to take Thrive Nation right now as a result of hearing this. You need to create a daily checklist for the opening of your business. You need to create a daily checklist for the closing of your business. You need to create a checklist for all the marketing activities of your business. You got to create a weekly checklist for the training of your team. Jeff, let's add this to the show notes. You got to create a checklist for your accounting, verifying that 2 people have signed off on all the deposits that go into the bank. You just have to create a checklist for everything in your business that you want to be effective. But Marshall, I think there's somebody listening, not our listeners. It's like a listener who's listening to the show right now. They're sharing this with their friend, and their friend is fighting. Not you, the listener. Your friend is fighting, wanting to use a checklist. You say, my industry is different. I know it works good for surgeons. I know it works great for lawyers and
it's different.
Builders of homes. But for me, because I'm a landscaper or I'm a insurance salesman,
fly by the seat of my pants,
I don't need to use a checklist.
Well, the Atul Gawande, like I said, this is one of my favorite books. What he says is it gets the silly stuff out of the way so it allows the masters of a specific skill to perform. And so it gets out of, hey, are we making sure we're making the right incision on the right arm, versus the wrong arm? Are we amputating the right leg versus the wrong leg?
The left
you
leg.
got really graphic there. I think
know.
If you can make it more like not medical body.
That almost happened to me. They almost operated on the wrong knee. I tore my ACL in high school, and they almost operated on the wrong one.
But these are the things that are a part of the checklist that allows the surgeons, the lawyers, the pilots to perform their skill at the highest.
Give us a checklist that has to do with like bricks and mortar.
I got one.
Don't get into the body. It's just gross.
When running the concrete business, I had to implement a pre-pour checklist because before I came on and we started to scale, my father was in charge of every concrete pour that we did, and he never forgot anything. Now, when we scaled that out and had other lead guys doing it, they forgot the troweling machines, like the main equipment that we need to finish the slab, stuff like that. So I had to make a pre-pour and a pour day checklist.
So when you don't follow the checklist, the issue it's in concrete and not surgery. You're not cutting off the wrong leg. You're just spending 3 hours going back and getting the actual machine.
Well, or you don't realize you don't have them and you have to tear out the entire slab.
Then you get sued
and
by
then you
attorneys
then you get
because
sued.
the slab cracks and 2 months later you're in litigation.
Exactly.
Or you don't follow a checklist and you do cut off the wrong leg, and then my personal injury attorney has a very good case for that poor patient.
Or in the haircut business, you don't check the client's hair notes, and they said to you 6 months ago, I would like to have a faux hawk, and now they're growing out their hair, doing a different style, and you didn't check the hair notes, and you went ahead and did what you remembered them telling you thought 6 months ago, and then they sent me a hateful email talking about how I've hired a bunch of morons.
Come on, we can't have that.
Now they have a side spike.
There we go. And so I'm just telling you this, whether it's the haircut business or carpet cleaning or photography or videography, you've got to make sure that you have a checklist for everything. You not having a checklist is not an excuse. And even if it is an excuse, the customer votes with their dollars. So if they're happy, they come back and they bring friends. If they're not happy, they don't come back and they tell their friends not to use you either, because that's how business works.
Don't be lazy.
Now, Chubb, when we come back, we're talking about how to create a linear workflow. Chubb, are we talking about that next?
We're going to be talking about how to create a linear workflow.
And the linear workflow is how do you create a duplicatable process, a system? How do you create the system? So many people say, I want to create business systems. Well, how do you go about creating step-by-step business systems that scale? Stay tuned.